Welcome to My Safe Word is More with your hosts from Survivor and Amazing Race, Corinne Kaplan, stand-up comedian Al Jackson. I'm Chris, your producer, and this is My Safe Word is More.
Hello, everyone.
What's up, buddy?
Hi. We are going to get into a whole bunch of things today. I have a meeting a man in the wild story. I have...
I think I call that free range.
Yes.
So you have your own Survivor term.
We all used to do it.
Yeah. You'll hear how it turned out. We have some excellent advice emails that I'm going to get to. And then I have just a fun story of something that happened to Erica and I. So we're kind of all over the place. But before we start, this is our second episode of the new year.
Corinne just leaned behind her chair and got something like an old uncle. That's like, here's a baseball mitt. And
I
you're
got
like, I'm
myself
20.
a pair of glasses. It's my first ever pair.
Oh.
They kind of look like Al's glasses.
I know. When you put those on, I was like, oh, shit.
Oh, yeah. Are we sponsored by Warby Parker? We should be.
Well, basically, I have a very slight, I don't need them. However, insurance fucking covered them, so what's up?
You look really good in those.
Thank you. It's a little dizzying because I'm not used to them, so.
I have to know, I know you'll always be honest.
Sure.
How long did it take you to decide on a pair?
I brought Jessica with me. And I have no patience for this sort of shit. And they gave me a little basket and they asked me to put a bunch of glasses in them and try them on. And I swear to God, I didn't know one from the others. And then I put these on and the optometrist, the assistant, and Jess were like, oh, those are perfect. And I was like, okay, great, I'll just take these. I mean, they're free to me. So I was like, if I
would
hate
think
them,
you would have haggled back and forth. These make my forehead look bigger.
No.
They look good. They are the Dahmer style for
I
anybody
know.
that's just listening to us.
Yes, and if you are just listening, you could go to YouTube to My Safe Word is More and actually see me. I am wearing my John Daly golf pants. I'm wearing a pair of Dahmer glasses. I have given up on dating, and it is clear
Don't
from my
do that.
appearance today.
No. I feel like those glasses are going to open up a whole new world of guys at the coffee shop.
Maybe. I also am wearing a Bruce Springsteen vintage tee that doesn't really match anything.
Guys at the Hot Topic.
Yeah, this is a very expensive tee. It's not Hot Topic. But anyways, let's dive right in, shall we? My first story I want to tell you is that I went to a party. It's very distracting to have these glasses on. I feel like I'm in another world.
You could take them off.
I know. Should I take?
Or you could learn to wear them.
I know.
But
And
maybe not now is the time to be distracting.
No, I'm going to try and power through this. Okay, so I have been to a lot of parties in my life. We can all agree.
Yes.
I'm not going to go into a Diddy party thing here. I could, but I'm not going to. No, but I have been to a lot of parties. I will say that in the 6 years I have lived in Denver, this is the greatest party I have ever been to.
Oh.
Ever. I did not have high expectations. I'm going to tell you about the party and then obviously the person I met. So I really like this person who invited me, but I don't know any of her friends. So I'm going into a party where I know her and I know one other girl there. I'm not coming with the other girl. And I'm just going by myself. And it's going to be a party of about 50 people. And I'm just riding by myself.
I think that's a catbird seat. You know at least one person, so you won't be the only person who doesn't know anybody, like the woman that I brought to Chris's party, even though I thought that was fine. But you don't know everybody, because if you know everybody, what's the point? It's like your Instagram is just alive.
So there's a bunch of things going on here. So she sends out this invite, and I just really enjoy her as a person. So I was going to go to this party regardless. It's not even, she lives in Golden, which is a bit of a distance. It was the same night as the fucking Christmas parade, so it took me an hour and a half to get there. It was impossible with Ubers.
It's faster when you drive straight through the parade.
Just
tell people to move.
Yeah. So but when I got this invite, I thought this was so creative. So I'm going to read you the invite so you have an idea. She says, "Greetings from Dan and Evan. You are invited to join the Yule Festival. Please dress in your best pelts and bone. Please bring your own ale horns for the grog we will provide. Sacrifices will be made, tournaments will be fought, merriment will be had." And I was like, well, what a clever, cute little party idea.
You
So
mean
it's like a
medieval
Viking?
knights?
It is a Viking-themed party. But she doesn't say that. She says
Just
it's a
say
Yule.
no blacks.
It's a Yule festival. So I read this and I go, oh, that's cute. I mean, I'm sure, I didn't know how serious they were taking it, but I have tons of fur. So I was like, that's not a problem. So I go on Amazon, I order an ale horn, which I didn't know what that was. It's a thing to drink out of. And I figure, all right. So I put on a Lululemon pencil skirt, no underwear, and then a cropped sweater and then a white fur jacket. And I'm like, that looks good. And I really want to highlight, I'm just complimenting myself here for my self-confidence, because going to a party where you don't know anyone and there's a costume involved, And I didn't feel insecure about this at all. I was
That
like,
was quite. Were pencil skirts in?
it wasn't. No, it was a very. And I wore like Doc Martens with the pencil skirt to try and tie together. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know
Why the no underwear?
Oh, if I'm going to a party where I don't know anyone,
Really?
I feel like
That makes no sense to me, but fine.
a couple things. I don't like when there's underwear lines.
Wait, when you meet somebody, do you say, "Hold on one second, I got to put some underwear on. I know somebody now."
I just feel more confident. Like, obviously, you're not going to see anything. It's a pencil skirt. It goes to my knees. But I just was like, I like knowing that I'm not wearing underwear. Maybe I'll meet somebody. I don't know.
It's like your little secret.
Okay, so when I arrive, I see everyone, and I mean not one partygoer is not in full face paint with full Viking costumes on. And I look so stupid. And I brought my Gucci purse. I don't know why.
You're like an angsty chick from Braveheart.
Yeah, my outfit made no sense. The only thing I followed was the ale horn and the fur, but they didn't mean like my like mafia white fur. That didn't make any sense. Like, it was the most themed party, and I fully like totally screwed that up. But when I got there,
So they're taking this like Ren Fair serious.
extremely, which
Okay.
I love. And they do a different theme every year. Like, I cannot say enough good things about this party. She had a full fucking itinerary of drinking games that were Viking themed. Like, all different, like there was like a game which like there was like a cotton ball and you had to pick it up like with a straw, and like but there was all these drinking games that she had. And one of the coolest things she did was, on the invite it said the sacrifices will be made. So at a certain point, she has everyone outside by like a fire pit, and she has everybody chanting like a Viking chant that she's taught us. Everyone's chanting.
I would be so uncomfortable.
I
I'd be
mean-
like,
All I want to do is ask Al how he feels about themed costume parties.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you want an honest answer?
Yeah.
I think men can do better. I've looked at Sar go to parties, and she went to a charcuterie party where they put together charcuterie in
smart.
shot glasses, and it was so cool. And it's like every woman I talk to, I hate to generalize like this, you guys give a shit when you hang out, and your events are so much better. And so, like, honestly, I'm like, why don't dudes just put some effort? This sounds so much better than like me and my homies would just be in front of the fire pit talking about high school.
Right. Well, so that we're in the fire pit area, and she has a guy leading us to learn this chant. And then what they did was they took a stuffed animal.
Wait, what was the chant?
Oh, I don't remember. I definitely could not remember it. But they took a stuffed animal, looked like a grizzly bear stuffed animal.
Right.
And they cut the insides out. They put a bag of red wine inside the animal. They had him on a plate. They raised him over their heads, and then they slashed the inside like as though they were gutting him. And then the blood drips down, which is the red wine. They put that in a bowl, and everyone had to drink some of the blood. Like, this was the craziest. I'm getting chills telling it. It was such an incredible
That's
party.
pretty cool.
I mean, everything they did. That's only one of like. There was something to do. Like, there was a full itinerary. Like.
Can you imagine somebody looking at this from across the street and they can't tell that it's a doll? And they're like, oh,
Yeah,
Peter.
they had set up axe throwing in the backyard. Like, it was so cool. And then I will tell you this, when I got there, I'm sniffing out, like, is there any cute? I didn't expect there was going to be like really, I didn't even think there'd be singles there. Like, this couple is actually married, and there was lots of other couples there. Like, I didn't really, like, I thought it was probably going to be not that many single people. But there was a guy there when I first walked in, and I thought he was kind of cute, and he was wearing, like, he had like a strap with a polar bear attached to it. And I thought, oh, that's cute. Like, what is that? And he goes, this is my kill. Like, as though he had killed the polar bear. I thought that was very clever. So I like grab it, and I was like, oh, that's so smart. And he's like, yeah, I got it at Goodwill. And I was like, huh? You know how I feel about stuffed animals. I love
Right.
Goodwill, but a stuffed
You're like,
animal.
I'll sleep on your mattresses.
That stuffed animal has like some child's drool and human dander on it. Like, ugh.
I've noticed most kids' stuffed animals smell like pee.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's just-
best case scenario.
It's a non-starter
of
for me
humping.
at the Goodwill. But at this party, I start talking to a guy who ends up like assigned next to me during like some of the drinking games, which I will tell you, I am incredibly unathletic, which is to say that like I have endurance. That's all I have. I have no hand-eye coordination for the most part. Like if you ever saw me on Survivor, you could see like I can't do really very much. However, I am insanely good at drinking games. A, because I can drink. B, because I don't get drunk like everyone else does. And C, I practiced flip cup for like years. So anything.
You're like an X-Man for Florida State.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I am definitely a product of the University of Florida. And like I memorized a million great toasts. Like I'm very good at drinking games, and I'm very confident in my being good at it.
Right.
So we're on these it's a long table, you know, because there's like 50 people, there's like 25 people on each side. And I'd be like third to last person. Like I'm carrying the team. And I was like, fucking no problem. No problem. Did not freeze under pressure, like killing it. Anyway, so I meet this guy there. And I'm like, I'm talking to him, and my friend who does the party is a PA. And so I thought maybe he was a PA as well, because there was, you know, one of my other friends, the only two people I know.
Production assistant.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Physician
assistant.
Oh, I've been in the business too
Different
long.
business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Way more money in that.
And so I start talking to this guy, and I was like, oh, are you also a physician assistant? And he's like, no, I'm actually a surgeon. And I was like, well, what the fuck is he doing here? And so I'm talking to him, and I'm like, he's cute. And like, I was like, okay, like, color me interested.
Were you
So-
just waiting for my boyfriends over there?
Oh, well, I figured he had arrived with a girl, and it turned out they were just friends. And
Oh.
so he was just like free for the taking. So I was like, don't mind if I do. So I spent like a ton of this party talking to him. And when we are like outside talking, I was like, how old are you? And he tells me, and it's totally age appropriate. And then I immediately say, do you want kids? Because you know I got to get that out of the way. And he's like, no. And I was like, all right. So we exchanged numbers. And when I come back from the break, I'm going to tell you what happened here.
Oh my God.
And as you can imagine, it wouldn't make the podcast if it was good.
Oh, all right.
We'll be right back. So now I've exchanged numbers with him, and I'm like keyed up on him. I'm like, he has all his hair, he has nice teeth, he has an excellent profession. Like, how has no one snatched him up? I ask him, and he's like, oh, I was engaged, that didn't work out. I'm like, okay. He appears to be like a really kind of perfect guy. So we're messaging back and forth till like 2 a.m. that morning, like after the party. And
Is
then
he
he's like,
messaging Ambi and Corinne towards the end of that?
you know, that's a good question. I think I was smart enough at this time not to take Ambien until we were done speaking.
Oh, that means
I
you really
was-
liked him.
Really, I mean, I was drinking heavily by myself on my couch, but that's not
Right.
new.
There we
So-
go. In a Viking costume?
I was sitting there in a pencil skirt with no underwear. Yeah.
That's
So-
that's the photo that starts the meeting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I want to
This
stress.
was me a year ago.
Out of the horn.
right. Which, by the way, you know, I paid like $17 for this tiny ale horn. Washed that bitch and returned it to Amazon.
You did.
I rent from Amazon, okay? That's Rent the Runway for me. So,
I would never think to do that.
oh my
No,
God.
Guys don't do that.
Oh, no. Everything goes back. If I'm not going to use it again, it's going back. So nevertheless, I am like keyed up on this guy. So we message back and forth like a ton. Like from the party, we were home by like 11 till like 2 a.m. And then he's like, I'd love to see you for brunch tomorrow. So the next morning I was flying out to Utah in the afternoon. He's like, I'm actually exhausted. Do you want to just connect when you're back from Utah? I was like, yeah, that sounds great. So he's messaging me like, and I am not, you guys, I think I'm a very self-aware person. I don't know, maybe you two would disagree, but I feel like I can identify. I would never overthink like if
You don't think every guy likes you because
no,
he's
I
talking
don't
to you.
at
Yeah.
all. I really don't. And also, like, when you're sending, like, he went through my Instagram and he saw a picture of me in a bathing suit and he sent that and he was like, let's talk about this picture. Like, I'm not confusing. This was very obviously him hitting on me.
Does
and
he
I
know
was,
you're a reality TV star at this point?
He figured it out because he's on Instagram and I'm on Instagram and we followed each other. And so he was like, the way home, he listened to our podcast.
oh.
Because he was like, I'm super interested, like that, like you're so funny. And I was like, this is great. This is so great. I have done it. Huzzah. I have met someone in the wild. And so we're texting back and forth and I'm in Utah and I'm like, hey, I'm going to be back Tuesday night. So like, when do you want to hang out? Because if you know nothing about me, you know that I know that I'm very witty and anybody is lucky if I am willing to banter with you. I do not do that with everyone. I'm doing that because we're going to meet. You don't get the luxury of me, all my charm and wit.
Right, like like I'm your little fun friend on the phone
No.
for 30 seconds. Like, no, you
No.
need to.
So I'm like, when are we hanging out? I don't, he's kicking the can down the road. And then by that, like, so I get back Tuesday night. By Friday, it's the weekend. I was like, hey, are we hanging out? And he's like, I'm actually at a medical conference, which I'm not sure that he was. But by the next week, I've kind of had enough. And so he sends me a meme that says something about liking older women. And I'm like 2 years older than him. And so I write back like, do you like me? And he's like, well, he goes, I like one older woman. She's very interesting. I can't wait to hang out with her. He's talking about me. And so I'm not misinterpreting. I really want to plant that seed because I am
But
really.
I'm annoyed now already.
So I am like, basically, I'm at the end of my rope because we've been communicating way too many days now. And I said, okay, why don't you just let me know when you're available to hang out because this is like a bad dating app situation. Like, I've already met you in real life. Like, I think you're hot and I want to get to know you. So when are we hanging out? Like, this is not that difficult. He doesn't have any children. He doesn't want any children. All right. So he calls me. So we had been communicating via text. He actually calls.
First call.
Time talking on the phone. We just weren't, like, we were texting and sending memes, but we weren't actually speaking. He calls me. So I was like, oh, great. Let's step it up. Let's talk on the phone. And I think he's calling maybe to plan our first date. And he goes, hey, I just wanted to give you a call. I took your advice. And I'm thinking, what advice did I give him? And he said, I got on Hinge and I'm going on my first date tonight. And so I thought I'd call you and tell you.
Oh.
And
God.
I am like, what? So I immediately, like, I didn't try and like swallow my pride or like play this off. I was like, I'm sure I didn't give you that advice. I'm really sure that I said I'd like you to take me on a date. Why would I want you to get on Hinge? Why would I, like, no. And I could tell he was trying to play it off. Like,
You think he got his girls mixed up?
no. But he wanted, we'll get to why, but he wanted to just be my friend, but he didn't want, I guess leading me on was he thought he'd lure me in, like, with
we could date possibly.
right, and then drop it like casually, like, just kidding, like, I'm not interested in you that way. And I didn't take it well. I didn't take it at all like a normal person would take this. I got
Good.
very angry. And so I said to him, I go, I definitely, like I'm telling you, I said, I definitely did not give you that advice. And he goes, well, I don't think you would.
I took it anyway.
He goes, well, I don't think you'd like me on Hinge anyway. I go, what difference does that fucking make? I met you in real life. And he goes, I go, why wouldn't I like you on Hinge? And he goes, well, Corinne, we have very different beliefs. And I'm like, what? And he goes, I said, what does your Hinge profile said? He said, it says, I'm looking for a woman who loves Jesus as much as I do.
Okay.
This is like curveball after curveball.
I know. So I go, how much do you love Jesus? Like,
Right.
I mean, how do you know?
Didn't I meet you at a faux blood sacrifice?
Right. Like, I wasn't wearing like a Star of David or anything. Like, who knows? Maybe I'm into Jesus too. And so he goes, I said, how much do you love Jesus? He goes, well, I go to church.
You're like, I look like Kurt Cobain right now. Yeah.
So he goes, well, I've gone to church every Sunday for the last 5 years. And I was like, what happened before that? Like, so you just got into Jesus? Like, and none of it. So he goes, and he goes, besides, I want like 4 kids. And I go, but I asked you and you said you didn't want kids. And he said, yeah, well, I could tell you really didn't want them. Motherfucker.
Yeah.
Why do I
Damn.
even try? Like, I am so transparent about the kid thing and I cannot get ahead. And then lastly, he's like, well, I've been FaceTiming with this girl for like 2 hours a night, every night the last week. And I go, okay. And I'm trying to, obviously I'm about to get off this call, but I thought, let me just, And I said, because, you're new at Hinge. I go, yeah, did you see her body? Because FaceTiming is cool and all, but I mean, you don't even know if she's wheelchair bound. Like, if FaceTiming is nothing.
Wow.
And he goes, no. She weighs like 100 pounds. She's Asian. And I go, do you normally date Asians? He's like, yeah, almost exclusively.
Weird.
Y'all, I did not have a fucking chance here. Did not have a chance and had no idea. And so I said, okay, please never call me again.
Do you know what you were? You were a diversity hire to be his new gay best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just wanted a platonic friend that he could just bounce ideas off of and like catch up over virtual coffee. Like, he did not have any intention, but that in itself is Chris is just like, he's in a fog. It's the weirdest thing.
I don't get it.
I
don't even have a theory.
Yeah. that's how odd it is, right? And
Wow.
I was telling Elise, my colleague, because I was with her in Utah, and I was like showing her the messages because I was excited. She goes, "This is probably the guy. This is the guy you end up with." I mean, she's very romantic, and I'm not, but she's like, "This is how it starts, right? Like a regular guy. He also doesn't want kids. He's in the medical field. You met him,
Did you go on Hinge and look at his profile by chance?
No, I mean,
I was just wondering.
I would have to come across him, and I don't really swipe Hinge very often. I just look at my likes.
Can
and he
I
ain't
just
gonna like me.
say this too? If you're going to be a religious person, in this case Christianity, to the point where it is going to dictate your love life, possibly who you spend the rest of your life with, I know people like that. I don't see them out late night at pagan rituals.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he was drinking.
Yeah, he doesn't really
I'm
drink.
not even saying hammered, but like,
yeah.
If you're going to, like, a Mormon would not be there.
No.
Like, because they, look, however you feel about certain religions, Jehovah's Witness,
right.
you would not see them there. Like, it's so weird with Christians where they just have this, like, a la carte, like, hey, I sucked a bunch of dicks sophomore year, but that summer I came back to Jesus, fell off into a black fraternity. They turned my asshole 3 ways from Sunday. But then second semester, found Christ again. It's so weird with Christianity that you can just, like, turn it off and turn it on again. It's just very strange.
He's clearly a liar, too, you know?
Yeah. I mean, he's exactly. I mean, look, I dodged a bullet.
The medical conference was bullshit.
Of course it was.
Because
he was
I know you're going to a conference.
Yeah, of course. But he was trying, because if that was the case, he would have just said ahead of that weekend, like, hey, I'm going to a conference this weekend, but I definitely want to see you when I'm back. Then he had the audacity on this call to go, well, we can still go on a friend date sometime. No, we can't. Just don't throw me your breadcrumbs. Ugh.
What would that even look like?
Not very good.
Honestly, if you really cared about this podcast, you'd go on that date. If you really cared.
Well, technically.
About 4 episodes. That shit would be like Roots. It would be like 5-part.
Docuseries?
Yes. I'm so curious, but I think that Sarah and I were watching Married at First Sight last night, and they're in Chicago, and there's a crazy person on there, as there always is. And it's like, these are people that go through, they scout, they vet, they get the best of the best, attractive people, professional people. And the last 3 episodes we've seen, there has been somebody that's like got an open diagnosable mental health disorder.
That's amazing. I totally watched that.
It's like, oh my God, just people leaving, guys yelling about things that didn't happen. Just people, crazy people. I dated one. They're everywhere. And I think that we say it, but we don't believe it. I think most people are low-level crazy, but the batch above that is crazy, but can hold a job crazy. And and having a really good job crazy.
They've always told me that with Survivor, because we have to do a 500-question Myers-Briggs thing. We have to do an IQ test. We have to meet with a therapist. They rank everybody that comes through the casting process as green, like not a danger to themselves or anyone else, yellow, and then red, absolutely not, like would be a hazard and like a medical liability for the show. And they only cast yellows. Only yellows. So if they don't detect a little mental instability, you're not getting on the show. So for those of you buying, I don't know, Parvati or fucking, what's his nuts, Adam, all these people selling casting videos, that's the secret.
Yeah.
You got to either be a little crazy or pretend like you're a little crazy.
Right. Yeah. That's disappointing and weird. And the fact that Chris and I can't develop a theory just tells you that there was none. That there is no like, oh, I was trying, even if it was like, oh, he's probably trying to get some money from you. No. At least that's an active motive.
Right.
What did he want?
Well, I mean, the only thing I could come up with is that I am very cool and it's fun to be my friend. You both can agree.
Maybe that's it.
That's true.
And I think that you don't come across that many women that are like me.
And you have a little bit of a level of fame that's appealing maybe to some people.
Yeah. It hasn't helped me at all. But I think like most women you meet are just not really like me. And so it'd be fun to have me as a friend.
True.
But you had to beat it out of him that he only dates Asian women. Which, if that's the case,
Wants 4 kids, is deeply Christian, all of the things.
Yeah, and he's lied, too. What's up with this Christianity? He's breaking every rule the first night. I don't want to have kids, or I want to have kids. It's a big deal.
Big. Anyways, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to get some advice questions answered, because you guys have written in to my safe word is more advice@gmail.com, and we are here to fuck your life up.
Yeah.
Be right back. Okay, so we have an advice question, and I'm going to leave him anonymous.
Our first advice question of 2025.
Yes.
That's what's up.
Okay.
Yes.
And I want to mention that we are working on getting a phone number, so you can actually call in and leave voicemails. I will tell you, do not be long-winded, okay? If I'm going to play your voicemail, let's keep it short.
No, because you're going to scare them into being too brief, and we're not. I want look. Forget. I will.
Don't listen to Al. Listen to Corinne.
I've had voicemail issues before. Okay, but anyways, we're gonna have that soon, so please check out our Instagram for that. All right. Hi, Corinne, Alan, Chris. Faithful swimmer here with an advice question and my most recent shit story. Love the bonus episode, by the way. So he's referring to, we had bonus episodes, and I shit my pants in one of them. And I've gotten so many people writing in. So we're gonna start with his advice question. My fiance and I have been dating for 8 years now and are getting married in August. My family and all of our friends are very supportive, but my fiance's family is not. Back in September, he told them about the wedding, and they said, "We need some time to think about it," and have not mentioned it since. We do not know if they are coming, and if so, how they will behave. Any advice for handling a homophobic family at a gay wedding? Background info in case you want it. They are Chinese immigrants and very Christian for background. His family consists of his mother, his parents, his white stepdad, a former pastor, and a few adult step-siblings. One stepsister in particular has been really supportive and kind to us. The stepdad isn't as bad as the rest. He is old and ignorant, but still loves my fiance as his son. He is 27 and came out to them about 2 years ago. Wow, that's actually not that long ago. Before that, they knew me as his friend and loved me. They still won't say anything bad about me, but do not interact with me or acknowledge my existence anymore.
Ooh.
I know. So, I mean, I'm going to get your thoughts, but I just want to point out that, like, if he only came out 2 years ago, I mean, you would think 2 years is enough time, but if he came out 2 years ago and now all of a sudden he's engaged in planning a wedding, like, I don't know. That family is probably, like, feel like they were in a car crash. I mean, I don't agree with it, but I'm assuming that that's a quick turnaround.
Well, it's a quick turnaround for both parties because obviously they're finding out their son/stepson is gay. And we have to remember, like, they're like a computer from the 90s and they cannot process information quickly. So that's a bitch anyway. And then you go, and this other dude that you loved and have cooked for and laughed with and asked about his parents, I'm fucking him. And now you've just overloaded that hard drive. And I think it's almost shut down. And that's why the parents just don't say anything. Because I don't think they have the words or the bandwidth. I don't know when that'll happen. I'm not exonerating them. I'm just saying, like, when you see people that are 60, 70, 80, remember that they are from a different planet than you. The planet that they grew up on had segregation. Women didn't work. And now we have come full circle, and it's a beautiful thing, but their hardwiring is from, like, the 50s.
You would think that if you're from China, I mean, this is, I'm real good politically. Don't they only allow them to have, they don't like girl babies? You got 2 men.
Right.
Well, success. That's 2 boys. They don't like it. But what I wanted to say is when you're talking about your wedding and, like, your life with this guy, like, you should not be fucking stressing about their situation coming to your wedding. Like, that would be an honest thing that you just ask, like, hey, are you coming? And if you are, do you want to get some therapy ahead of this? Like, we're going to ask you to come correct if you do show up. But, like, I hate that you're agonizing over this particular aspect of your wedding because it's really, like, they don't deserve that kind of attention.
Right.
And it's really up to your fiance to talk to his family about that. Like, it's really not on you, especially they're not acknowledging your existence. I don't even know if you called that they would take that call. It'd be weird coming from you.
Right.
But I do not think that you should, taking up rent in your head it's not fair.
I'm so glad that you brought up the important thing, which is them celebrating their love. Look, a wedding is a party, but this is a celebration of friends that became life partners. This is a beautiful thing. And I think I can speak for Corinne when I say the most upsetting thing that we could find out is that if you let this ruin your day, if your parents don't show, that sucks. But it's not allowed to ruin your day.
Does it suck?
You guys worked your balls off for this.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. And you can even kind of loosen the pressure valve with mom by, instead of being like, we need to sit down with a family therapist ahead of time, just be like, if you come, great. If you don't, I understand, but we're going to have we releasing doves in this bitch.
Yeah.
We got an open bar on 2 floors.
Yeah.
White chocolate will be served. Like, just be like, we're having fun. So if you come, cool. If you don't, I get it, but, like, we're not stressing, even if you are.
Important that you remember the point is for you to have a good time, not them. So, like, that's all that matters. And I hate the idea that
it kind of does. You're exactly right.
The wedding planning, like, they shouldn't be stressing you out for that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get his shit story in real quick, and then I have one funny thing to tell you. So, like I was saying...
Oh, and send pictures of that wedding.
I thought you were going to say the shit story.
Yeah. And
don't send those pictures, please.
So he says, my most recent shit story. So I put a call out, like, who else has had issues? And my best friend Franny from Survivor wrote in. She's like, I haven't shit myself since I was 9. Sorry. But I've had lots of other people who wrote in and said, like, it wasn't that long ago. So
Oh,
he
yeah.
said, this won't be particularly funny, but I thought it would at least make Corinne feel less bad. That is what I'm looking for here. Mine was this past summer. I'm a teacher, so I had some time off. My fiance still had to go to work, so I began walking him to his car each morning as a nice way to spend a few minutes together. I have a very specific routine of using the bathroom in the morning, and when the call comes, I must answer. I have diarrhea every day and have been this way for years. No clue what's wrong with me. I'm only 26. Yeah, I see you.
Oh,
I
my
hope you feel
goodness.
seen. The call came after he had driven off. I was a few blocks from our apartment building and began running. I was desperately trying to Google, is it better to run or walk when holding it in? I made it to our parking lot before it started coming out. I basically held it all in my shorts and underwear and made it to my apartment without too much mess. I threw the underwear away, but no matter how many times I washed the shorts, the stain was still there. I ended up getting rid of them too.
Yeah.
I cleaned everything before my fiance got home that day and never told him what happened. Thank you for continuing to entertain us. Happy New Year, M-Swim team.
I have a question.
Did you donate them to Goodwill? That was my first
I
question.
think we know he did. What do you think about him even attempting to save the shorts? I don't know if that's like
Yeah.
an act of valor or like, bro, let it go.
So I'm just a person that throws everything out, like everything. I mean, if a pan seems difficult to clean, I'm like, garbage. I remember when I was in college and we had no money, I didn't put I like really don't have any domestic skills. My mom, sweet mother, did everything for me. So I didn't know you have to put a garbage bag in the garbage can. So when I first was, I just thought you put it directly into the garbage. And so
Wait, no. What?
so I didn't know there was a garbage bag situation.
You mean a trash liner?
Yeah, I thought everything just goes in the can. And then the fairy takes
Just
it.
raw dog in the garbage can. Okay, cool.
I mean, it took me a minute to learn this because in the dorms, I don't.
A minute?
Yeah. I spent like the first year in the dorms and I would go to people's houses and spit my gum directly into their trash can. Like, I didn't understand. I was like, I literally was like, oh, I don't know who cleans this. This seems difficult, but anyway.
You're like a kid that was chained to a radiator until they were 14
it's
and had to
very-
learn life skills.
There's so many
Oh,
things.
you don't pee in that. Got it.
Yeah,
Noted.
there's so many things I learned after the fact. But anyways, in college, we had no money, and it was my first roommate situation where we were living in an apartment. We had just moved in, and I threw threw the remainder of a can of tuna into like tuna juice everywhere. And so Tracy confronts me, and she's like, you know, there was no bag in the garbage can. I go, what are these bags you speak of? She goes, you have to put a bag in, and I had taken the garbage out expecting you would obviously. She goes, and then you threw tuna.
Did you see her face go from anger to concern?
Well, I was like, well, you grew up in a divorced household where I guess your mom made you do stuff. I don't know whatever this is you're talking about. I made a mistake. So she goes, okay, well, then you're going to need to clean out the trash can. And I was like, no, I'm not. So then I just took the whole trash can, which was like a nice trash can, like Simple Human or something, and I just threw it in the dumpster. And so she comes back from class and she goes, where's the fucking trash can? And they go, well, it was sullied, I suppose, so we'll have to get a new one. And she's like, what are you saying? So I am a big thrower-outer.
I can just imagine those people that like drive up and down my alley and like pick up trash and they kind of rework it. They see a brand new Simple Human. It's like
Yeah.
$109 for the silver ones with this with the press down with the toe. I'm just so curious as to how you lasted that long not knowing. It does kind of make me happy.
I don't know.
What
I don't know.
happened with her after that? Did she just stop asking you to do things?
Yeah, and then eventually we didn't live together anymore.
Yeah.
People didn't really like living with me. I rarely knew what to do in very obvious circumstances. We're running low on time, and I have to tell you this quick story that happened to Erica and I. So Erica Cobb, who you guys have met on a previous show, if you want to go back and listen, she's an excellent interview guest and also friend. I was out with her. We went to dinner at a place. It's called, and I'm going to tell you what I'm telling you the name, Nana's. Am I saying that right?
Nanas.
Nana's. Why did I
Why are
feel
you
like
saying it like that?
What's
I
wrong
know
with
I'm
you?
saying it weird, but I
She's
can't
trying to
fix
just
it.
mimic how
Nah,
Chris
nah.
said it.
I don't know why it's not. I'm not ESL. All right. Well, Nanas.
Stop saying it like that. Just say
Nanas?
nanas.
Nanas.
Yeah. Just take ban off of bananas. Why is this so hard?
I have no idea.
She
But I've
really
been struggling
did.
with this every time I tell the story because I can't say it right. All right, so we go to this dumpling place, and she was like, oh, I'm so glad you want to go. I had never been. She goes, I'm so glad you want to go because Anthony fucking hates it, and when he decides he hates a place, he just won't go. And it's right next to their house. So she's like, let's definitely do it. So I go, why does Anthony hate it? And she goes, I don't know. He doesn't like it. He thinks they're inauthentic, and he took up issue with them. So I go, all right, he's at the Broncos game, so we go. Now, I order a sake flight, which is one of my very favorite things. Sake gives me an instant hangover, but I still do it. I really like the taste of sake. So I get a flight, 3 different sakes. She's getting wine. We order, this is important, like $150 worth of food. It's not like we shared a seaweed salad. Do you know what I mean? Like we went in. We also ordered food to go for Anthony. Like we were.
I thought he didn't like the food.
He didn't, but he was coming from a Broncos game and there was no other choice. So that's
Okay.
what he's getting. Anyways, but my point is we spent quite a large amount of money. This was not like some bullshit. This comes into play in a minute. All right, I get the sake flight and I tell the guy, I go, I really like the middle one. Can I just get a glass of that for my second drink? And he goes, we don't serve it by the glass. And I'm like, well, I'm staring at a glass of it. This is a glass with a taster. I just want 2 more of those in this glass.
Right.
Like,
Do you understand how liquid works? Takes the shape of the container it's poured in.
Generally.
Yeah.
So he comes back to the table and he goes, like he's spoken with management. He comes back, he goes, so I can sell you a bottle of it. And I was like, right, but I just want a glass of it. And he's like, I just don't know that we can do that. I'm like, you're pouring it in the flight. We're not talking about you're opening a bottle of champagne that's going to go bad. Like, none of this makes sense. You're already opening the bottle. There's a bottle open at the bar. I just had some of it. So finally he comes back and he goes, all right, I can do it for $15. And I was like, that's more than okay. Great.
And also he made that number up.
Yeah, I know. But I
There's
was
no
like,
drink that's $15.
so I go, I don't know why we had to have all this back and forth, but whatever, I don't care. And I'm still having such a good time with Erica that I knew he was being a pain in the ass, but I just was like, I'm having a good time. Let's not let it ruin my night. Well, Erica gets another glass of Sauv Blanc, so that's, $15 to $18 as well. We just get them, and now they bring out the to-go order that we have, but we just got our drinks, right? And so, we put the to-go order on the ground, and then we're drinking, and, we had already, like I said, we're in for $150 worth of food at this point, maybe more. And the manager comes over, taps me on the shoulder, and he's like, I'm so sorry to do this. I'm going to need to ask you to leave. And I'm like, huh? And he's like, yeah, we actually have a reservation for this table now. I go, well, all right. We just got like $30 worth of drink. What am I supposed to do? And he's like, you got to know this is just as hard for me as it is for you. So I just look at him and I go, so I'm just supposed to throw these 2 drinks away? And he's like, yeah. And then he beckons to the line of people waiting to get into this dumpling place. So Erica's like, fuck it, we have more alcohol at home. Like, so we leave full drink. I mean, I tried to chug my sake, but sake's not really very chuggable. Neither's wine, to be honest. Like, yeah. And we leave, and like, I am like in stunned silence on the way home. We get it, and Anthony's like, how was it? And I'm like, you can do the I told you so dance. That was the worst fucking interaction I've ever had, right? That's why I'm like, I will podcast about it. No one should be going there.
Oh,
Wow.
Well, if I ever needed motivation for a Yelp review, yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to have to go ahead and do this one. First of all, don't talk to me. We don't need to talk. You couldn't help me out when I needed something simple like liquid poured into a glass so I could exchange cash for goods in your establishment. You couldn't do that. But yet you can come over and tell me, sorry, bro. Was he also taking his ring back as he told you?
Also,
he hated to do this.
Here's the thing you could do. You could just say, we're going to comp those 2 drinks because we made a mistake and served you when we needed you to get up like the house is on fire. I mean, he was basically like pulling me from, like, he was like, it's time to go now.
Why did you have to get up?
I don't know. I have no idea. He's like, we have a reservation for this table.
Yeah, I'd be like, that's your business.
Of course, then you shouldn't have served me the drink. You should have told me that before you brought the drink out.
Yeah.
Anyways, so.
There's no world where you're wrong in this scenario.
I know it.
That's really crazy.
Yeah.
That really made me mad in a way.
Oh,
Yeah.
my blood pressure is increased just telling the story.
It's not like you guys were there babysitting 2 sakes,
Correct.
catching up his girlfriends, fucking up the waiter's tip because like you're squatting on a table.
Uh-huh.
You guys have spent as much or more than
Than
any
a family of
table
4.
in there.
Mm-hmm.
And you took food to go. And I know y'all tipped.
Yes.
And you got a post drink after that and you gotta go. Yelp review.
Yeah.
Yelp review.
It's time. It's
yeah.
time, for sure.
Wow.
Word.
All right, Chris, give us your final thoughts,
I've
please.
been to like 10,000 restaurants. I have never had that happen.
Me
Neither have I.
Occasionally, I've had the thing where they'll be like, all right, you can have this table, but we have a reservation
Yeah.
at 8 o'clock. So it's in my choice. And I know it ahead of time. That's
or
fine.
during COVID, they'd be like, you have 90 minutes.
I've never, in thousands of restaurant experiences, been asked to leave.
Ask to leave after paying. Ever. Ask me to leave before I pay because of my behavior. That's
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Shocking. The other shocking thing from today's episode is I got to know this because the way you talk about this and people are writing in, how common is it for people to shit themselves as an adult?
A lot.
Well, according to
What?
my Gmails, quite common.
Bro, there's alcohol. Everybody's
I have
sphincter is not
never
built
had
the same,
this
bro.
happen.
Have you been close? You ever been like, oh shit, I just made it home?
No.
Really?
I have close encounters all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, you did not hang out with enough cokeheads in LA then, because
Coke makes you need.
Oh yeah, it's that I have a friend that used to smoke crack, and he said that's the first thing when you hit crack, you have to shit immediately. But if you think about it,
My eyes are open now
your sphincter
to
is shut.
how common it is
Yeah.
for adults to shit themselves
that
in
was
public.
Yeah.
that was the purpose
So
of
that's
the story.
that's the lesson I learned.
And also Coke, a lot of Coke is cut with
baby aspirin,
not baby
No.
aspirin.
Laxative.
laxative. That's right.
Baby laxative.
I mean,
yeah.
I hear.
I know.
Yes.
You live in LA, you see it all. All right.
I'm still seething, but this is why people listen to this, because they can hear us get upset, but then find a peaceful place and understand that this is not a podcast about life.
It's actually a podcast about Al Jackson performing on January 31st
Oh.
at the Rise Comedy Club here in Denver. So we will hopefully see you there.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yay Media Group.